I love the words of David. Psalm 100. Make a joyful noise unto the Lord, all you lands. Serve the Lord with gladness. Come before His presence with singing. Know that the Lord, He is God. It is He who has made us and not we ourselves. We are His people and the sheep of His pasture. Enter into His gates with thanksgiving. And bless His name. For the Lord is good. His mercy is everlasting, and His truth endures to all generations. God is good to us. We do have a lot to sing about joyfully. You heard just a few moments ago one of our shepherds, Brother Steve Grissom, offer thanks for the salvation of JC and Judd Lindsay, who put on Jesus in baptism this past Wednesday evening. I know that most all of you were here Wednesday and you saw this and you know who these people are. But just in case you missed this august occasion and you're sitting here wondering, well, who's JC? Who's Judd? What do they look like? JC and Judd, are y'all up there in your balcony position? Would y'all stand up, please? All right, y'all see those are the faces of brand new Christians. Thank you, JC. Thank you, Judd. Now, JC and Judd, I want it to be the situation where when you look at the faces of all those around you, their faces match your faces. So we got a little bit of work left to do, I suppose. We don't ever want to outgrow that good-looking face of a New Testament Christian. We continue in this church to be blessed with good news. It's not always as good as we would like, but it's sure a lot better than we frequently deserve, and we thank God for that. I'm delighted to ask you today to remember in prayer yet another family that is expecting a little baby. And Steve, I know it's already difficult to keep up with what we got, so you may need to get a chart and some names and diagrams and all, but we've got yet another family that is expecting a little boy or a little girl. And that would be Josh and Natalie Abrams. And little Jill is expecting a little brother or a little sister sometime in August, right, Jill? And do you want a little boy or a little girl? She wants a puppy. No, darling, you don't. She wants a girl? We're having back in my day, we didn't have reveal parties. You just kind of showed up and you got what the Lord gave you. Well, after Bible class at our house, we're having a reveal party. I'm going ahead and wearing a pink tie. I understand what the Lord, Jordan's having little girls and Josh has had little girls, so let's just keep on reverse psychology. I'm wearing a pink tie today. But thank you for praying for our growing family. And also, let's continue to pray for Troy and Amy Oliver. They've had a challenging bit of a week, and so we want to pray that they continue to get good news. They're expecting a child sometime in late August, early September as well. And we just need to not ever take for granted that these babies are going to grow and come and be in good health, and the moms are going to be in good health. We want to pray that will happen for them. So thank you for being prayerful people who pray without ceasing, people who pray fervently, frequently, and faithfully. They're going to put up some pictures now up on the board. Now, we still are having some issues because of a significant lightning strike. We're trying to get my microphone, some other microphones adjusted. And you notice whenever we were singing today, the lettering wasn't nearly as sharp as it needs to be. our people that are helping us with that will be back this week, and they'll try to get that figured out. And I'll try to remember to stand behind this microphone today, and we'll hopefully not be too distracted. Thank you for your patience as we continue to upgrade and improve. And if you would pray that lightning will not hit this building again, that'd be a good thing also. But in just a few days, I'll be back in that spot. That is Svetogorsk, Ukraine. That is where we have our annual winter retreat, and that is me in a boat on frozen water talking to some really good people. Thank you for helping to pray and pay for outreach efforts like that. Next, please. I will not be doing the polar bear plunge again this year. I'm about too old and too tired of that. But there's some good people. They enjoy doing that. And I want to encourage you to go over there this time of year and just go on and jump in and do that. And God will bless you with even more vigorous health. Next, please. You all are expecting snow on Tuesday. Do you see that this was last year, by the way, in Kramatorsk, Ukraine. And do you see the snow literally came up to the bottom of that bench there? Awfully high snow. And kids and teachers, I'll just go ahead and tell you now, that's what you need to be getting ready for. And I'll just go ahead and say, since I'm out of town, I can go ahead and say, no school. No school Tuesday, just take the day off, tell them the preacher said so, and please post lots of pictures on Facebook and send me pictures. I'll have access to the internet in Ukraine, and I want to see how much snow you had. It was Anna's 94th birthday last week, so first time I've missed her birthday probably in about 10 years or so. The winter retreat is a little bit later this year because Mark Posey schedule did not allow him to go earlier, and he's going to be assisting with that, and I'm very thankful. But please continue to pray for our oldest Ukrainian sister in Christ. I'm looking forward to being with her next week. Next, please. This is a picture of a very famous racehorse named Forgo. Any of you remember the horse Forgo? Any of you? No? Come on. This was a horse that was very successful, very richly rewarded. Her owners were back in the 1970s and 80s. And when Judy and I lived in Kentucky, we were able to visit the Kentucky State Horse Park where Forgo was living. This horse was in retirement at that point, and it was a very impressive animal to see, just a remarkable species. And even then, in retired state, was just a picture of strength and vitality and health. And we went to this horse's stall also, and we saw in the stall something quite interesting. We saw a goat. We saw a goat there. Would you go to the next picture, please? And that's not Forgo changing colors in the stall. That's a picture of another horse, obviously. But I wanted to depict what that looks like in these stalls. These goats are put in these stalls, especially with these very high-strung thoroughbreds, in order to calm them down. And in talking to the fellow who was kind of the boss of Forgo, keeping this horse comfortable and calmed down, he explained to me that without that goat in that stall, that horse would be very cranky, too high-spirited, and almost impossible to manage. And, you know, we have this saying that we use from time to time: don't let anything or anybody get your goat. And maybe you've wondered about the origins of that saying. And it does go back to this idea of the calming influence that a goat has in the presence of horses. And actually some of you have cows, some people actually get goats and they put them around their cows because they believe these goats also have a calming influence on those kind of creatures as well. So this morning, I would like for us, from a biblical perspective, to ask the question, who gets your goat? Who gets your goat? In other words, I'm asking, what angers you? When I say you, I mean us, me included. What angers you? What disturbs you, peeves you, exasperates you, irks you, galls you, riles you, bugs you, bums you out? What provokes you? What drives you up a wall? What grinds your gears? What rubs you the wrong way? What miffs you? What steams you? What irritates you? What has the potential to rob you of your joy, your peace, and if carried out far enough, your eternal salvation? I have a list. Maybe your list matches my list of some things that could potentially get my goat. When I see children that are unbuckled in their car, when I see litterers, drives me crazy. When I know that people are gossiping, people that smoke with children in their vehicle, bullies, people who make fun of other people, people that get too close to my rear bumper when I'm driving down the road, racist, preachers who mislead people about salvation. It gets my goat when I'm dealing with incessantly negative people. It gets my goat when I think about those who profit from the infliction of misery. I'm thinking about drug dealers. I'm thinking about those who make money by killing little babies. So lots of things have the potential to get my goat, and probably you've got a list that looks a little bit like my list, but is also different from my list. Now, while you're thinking about what gets your goat, what agitates you, what even could potentially cost you not just your joy, your peace, but a great relationship with God, I want you to think for a moment about Ephesians 4:26 and 27. Do you believe this is the most difficult command in the Bible? There are a lot of commands that are difficult. Love your enemy, that's difficult. Turn the other cheek, that's difficult. Do not forsake the assembling of ourselves together, as a manner of some is. For some folks, that's obviously difficult. There are commands about how we're to speak, about not gossiping, not taking the Lord's name in vain. That can be a difficult command for some people. But it seems to me that Ephesians chapter 4, verse 26 in particular, and then 27 kind of adds some flavor to it, is a challenge for many of us. It says, be angry. We got that. We can do that pretty easily, I suppose. Be angry and sin not. That's the challenge. Be angry and do not sin. Let not the sun go down on your wrath. And then verse 27, surely connected with our emotional state, particularly with the emotion of being angry, it says, neither give place to the devil. Don't let the devil use your anger to rob you of a great relationship with God and rob us of many other things as well. Then closely connected with that, Paul says in verse 31 of Ephesians 4, let all bitterness, wrath, anger, clamor, and evil speaking be put away from you with all malice. It is a challenging command to be angry, but not to cross any lines that we shouldn't cross when we're angry, because we understand that oftentimes when we're angry, we're going to be more likely to think something we should not be thinking. We're going to be more likely to say something that we should not be saying. When we're angry, we're much more likely to be doing something we should not do. When we're angry, we're more likely to be impulsive and make a decision that we absolutely should not make. So, that when and if we are ever angry, it should be in a way that is controllable. It should be in a way that is manageable. It should be in a way that does not cause us to break any of God's laws or expectations for us. There are several passages that guide us in this matter of not letting anything or anybody make us sinfully angry or provoke us to a type of disgust, a type of outrage that is displeasing to God. There are passages that guide us in not allowing anything or anybody, in other words, to get our goat. Matthew 5:22, Jesus says, I tell you that anyone who is angry with his brother will be subject to judgment. Going back to the old book of our Bible, Zechariah 8:19, the command there is to love truth and peace. We need to love peace. We need to love good relations with all. The word peace is found in our Bibles, at least the New King James Version, 397 times. The word peace is one of Christ's favorite words. How many times did he greet his disciples with, peace I bring you, peace I give you? John 14:24, an example of that. The words of Jesus. My peace I give to you, not as the world gives. Let not your heart be troubled, neither let it be afraid. In other words, don't let this world get your goat. Romans 14, verse 19. Therefore, let us pursue the things which make for peace, and the things by which one may edify one another. We're looking to have peace. We're looking to have great relations. We're willing to go out of our way to make that possible, to edify, to build up, to boost, to benefit, to bless the other person. What is your thinking of Romans chapter 12, verse 18? Paul says, if it is possible, as far as it depends on you, live at peace with everyone. Why is that passage worded the way it is? Because I can only be responsible for my side of a relationship. You can be only responsible for your side of any relationship. We can choose peace over conflict. We can choose forgiveness over resentment. We can choose calm over chaos. We can choose respect over rudeness. We can choose love over hate. But we cannot choose how the other will be. We cannot choose how they will react to us, how they will act towards us. But we also can choose to not give another person or groups of persons the power to control us, our mood, our day. We can make the decision to not give others the ability to steal our peace, to steal our joy, to steal our goat. And there may be times when we need to make decisions to do a better job of avoiding what some folks would call these joy vampires, these peace vampires, these faith vampires. There are people on our planet that seem to have been put here by the devil to wreck our faith, to wreck our day, to wreck our mood. But no man, no woman, no group can do that without our consent, without our participation in that. You heard me earlier say this idea of somebody can make you angry, somebody can make you feel a certain way. Now, certain people can lead us in that path, but ultimately, don't we all make our own choices? You made me say that. You made me do that. You made me punch that wall. You made me angry. You made me. Really? So now you're just a robot. And people push your buttons and you have no option. It's all out of your hands and you're just a victim of whatever other people will say or do in your circle. No. You're a child of God, right? That's who we are. Equipped by God with the ability to make good choices, including the choice, going back to the words of Paul in Ephesians 4, to be angry, but sin not. Don't let the sun go down on your wrath. Get over it. Let go. Let God. Line tangled. Cut it. Don't involve other people. Don't pout. Don't let it affect your ability to be salt, to be light. You know, some foolishly try to operate by this mentality, an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. Well, that leaves us all blind. That leaves us all lacking in teeth, doesn't it? When you come back tonight, we're going to focus on what upset Jesus. We're also going to focus on 6 angry men. By the way, ladies, I think it is somewhat telling that as I read my Bible from Genesis to Maps, that I do not find many angry women in the book. There are a few examples. But it seems like, at least in our Bible, we men have cornered the market on anger that is so frequently unreasonable and destructive. And I'm so thankful that we have no ladies in our forever family here at Tuscumbia, and I'm going to just go ahead and say no men. They struggle with anger. They struggle with allowing anything or anybody to get our goat. We're wiser than that. We're more mature than that. We're more serious about seeking peace than that. So this lesson is just preventative. This lesson is just something we can get maybe to share with others who struggle because they're always losing their goat, they're always losing their temper, usually over really trivial things. And I'd like for the fellows in the back to go to, I believe it's the next to last slide with those questions on there. I want to, before we close up, want to get to the questions. Before losing your goat, ask. All right. Can we ask these questions? Is this, I want you just to assume you're the kind of person who sometimes gets too angry, gets too disappointed, gets too bent out of shape, and those other words I used earlier. So ask yourself, before losing this goat, before getting all upset in a way that disappoint God, we got to ask, is this really something worth getting angry about? Is it really worth losing my temper over this? You remember that was kind of a question that God asked Cain and God asked Jonah, 2 angry men. We'll think a little bit more tonight about, but should you be angry about this or not? Really? And then a second question. In the grand scheme of things, is this that is robbing you of your joy and your peace? Is this that is upsetting you? Is it really that terrible? In the grand scheme of life, is what you're dealing with so awful? Maybe we need to ask sometimes, why am I going to such an extreme? Why am I amputating my entire arm simply because I have a broken fingernail? Why am I having such a dramatic, not reaction, but overreaction to something, again, that in the grand scheme of things does not matter at all? And I'm upset about it. I'm losing sleep over it. I'm disappointing God. To put it in perspective, are we aware that every day there are children in our world, they have to find a dirty mud puddle and they have to bend down and drink out of that dirty mud puddle in order to live. Every day somebody is learning that they have a disease that is terminal. Every day, 81,000, this is just the teenagers, are being treated just in America for substance abuse. That's just the ones being treated. That's, again, just teenagers. Every day, dozens are dying due to some issue with addictive behavior. Every day, somewhere in our world, because of a senseless, insane war, somebody is losing a loved one. Someone is losing a house. Someone is losing a life savings. Someone is being told, if you want to survive, you better pack up and get out of here and just go. Where are we going to go? Who's going to take care of us? We have no idea. We just know we got to go. I'm not giving us that list to depress us. I'm just giving us that list to say, are we really, really sure that the things that we're agitated about, we're upset about, we're disappointed about, that rub us the wrong way, spoiling our mood, spoiling our day, spoiling our life, that threatens our peace, threatens our joy, causing us to be cranky with each other, causing us to be in a bad mood? Are we really sure that the response is justified? That what we're dealing with is really so terrible, especially in view of the fact, again, I repeat, there are children drinking from puddles to survive. And I'm going to gripe about my fingernail or whatever. That seems to be a reasonable question. And let's be training our children in this. Let's not let our children be whining and fussing and complaining about things in the grand scheme of things don't matter at all. Because some of us, if we're allowed to do that as little children, we never outgrow it. And we're pitching a fit at 3, we're pitching a fit at 13, we're pitching a fit at 30, we're pitching a fit at 80. Because that's what we do. No. We can't let anything, anybody get our goat. There's so many people in this world that would love to have our problems. They really would. Third question is something that would anger Christ. That ought to be on our list. If it anger Christ, it needs to anger us. And we'll talk about some things tonight that would upset Christ and need to be upsetting us. Number 4, this is a very important question to ask. Is the devil using this situation to control me, to harm my influence with somebody, to harm my physical, anger, always losing your goat, that's very destructive to us physically. Is the devil using this to affect my mental health in a negative way? Is the devil using this to somehow weaken my reputation among good people? Number 5 question, is my reaction to this disappointment, this situation, this whatever, is it honoring God? Is it glorifying God? Is it pleasing God? And then a 6th question, is my response to this making me wiser, more respectable, more evangelistic, more desirable to be around, more effective as an ambassador of Jesus? Is it helping me to be a better servant of Christ? Good questions to ask. If you've lost your goat, you need to get it back. You need to go goat hunting. Reclaim your peace, gentleness, self-control. I like how David wrote about the Lord as a shepherd. Remember, he said he leads me beside the still waters. Not those turbulent waters, the still waters. Let's seek the still waters. Let's seek the peace that God can provide. When you come back tonight, we'll examine Philippians 4, 5-7, the gentleness, the peace that our Father is anxious to provide us. We have an opportunity to claim that. That's Jesus' desire for us. He came, Prince of Peace, so that we would have no conflict with God, so we would have no conflict with others, so we would have no conflict even with ourselves. Let's do this. Let's be peacemakers to the very best of our ability. All day, everywhere, around everybody. Would you pray with me, please? Father, thank you for peace. Thank you that with your help we can control our emotions. We can control what we think. We can control what we say. We can control what we do. We can control the decisions we make. We can help you. Would you come?
When we